Well, welcome everybody to the Williams College Winter Lull stream number 2. This is the first time that this stream has ever been live, and we're looking at shorting Jian versus Sammy Diff. Now, with me is my co-caster Abraham Park 1. His Discord name is Abraham Park 1, but he has a bunch of different League of Legends usernames known as Abraham Park 1, perhaps Abraham Park 2, and lastly, I go Abraham. So, Abraham, do you have anything to say? Want to say a hello to the viewers right away?
Yeah, hello. Welcome to the stream. It's looking like an exciting day too.
Yeah, let's go. All right, so both of us were in the same group in Group B yesterday, and what do we think of Group B?
Well,
What?
yeah, we Vincent and I both had, the privilege of playing against Team Shorting Jian. Um, I think that was probably one of my closer matches of the day. Some of my other matches were like either stomp or get stomped. Against Eric's team, I thought they did a really good job of like playing towards their win condition, which they picked Senna and Ornn, I believe.
Mhm.
At least they had Seraphine and Ornn, and their game plan was basically stall as late as possible, and then we'll just win with item diff, and they did a really good job of doing that.
Yeah. Well, yesterday, for those of you that watched the first stream, we were the first game that was broadcasted ever in Williams College Winter Lull here, and we went 2-27 against Eric's team, so it was kind of rough. And so, basically, what happened was that our team talked about it and we had a strong mentor. And I want to say to the rest of our team that thank you so much for having strong mentor. And we came back, did pretty well, went 2-2. But the showing wasn't great. I think Eric's team definitely beat us pretty handily in all parts of the game. So I think looking at this game, given that they're seed 1 from Group B, what do we think of Sammy Diff? Now, we do know Sammy Diff has a new support, or their original support. So originally they have Will Shao as their support substitute yesterday. And Will Shao is, I believe, like a Go 3 support main. And he was subbing for Not Electro, who is, I think, a Silver 1 mid main, who transition to support. So we're looking at perhaps a huge support difference in addition to the Sammy diff. So what do we make of that so far?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen too many of their games or seen the results of their scrims, but I do think on paper I'd expect their bot lane to perform maybe a bit worse than yesterday. And I think that's really important to highlight just because I think Team Shorting Jianlu have a very strong bot lane with Tranquil Turtle and Cherry Boba. I think they've shown pretty much in every game that they can win lane or at least go even and transition that to the mid and late game where Eric can carry the game. So I think it'll
Yeah.
be really important to see that matchup in the bot lane.
Mhm.
For Team Sammy Diff, it's really important to minimize um, any gains that Team Shorting Jianlu could get in the bot lane,
Mhm.
and trying to. I think Team Sammy Diff's game plan should be to try and attack the mid lane. I think that's probably where you would see the highest skill discrepancy
Mhm.
within all the lanes, and I think that's really where their game plan needs to be focused if they want to win.
Yeah, so I think looking at the mid lane pool, I think yesterday, I think our boy Blub the Boxer mostly play a ton of Anivia. I think he played a couple of games of, I think in solo queue he also played a couple of games of Vladimir. So those two champions, I think when it comes to Seraphine, could be, I think they're both looking to scale. So I'm not entirely sure if Blub the Boxer has, the champion pool to punish Seraphine very handily here.
Yeah, and it'll be really interesting to see like what bans actually come out from Sammy Diff because Cole on Team Shorting Jianlu yesterday played Seraphine in I think 3 of their 4 games, and in the other game he played Ari. So I've heard that he hasn't really played Seraphine before a tournament, and he's actually played more of the tournament than he has beforehand. But it's definitely
Mhm.
becoming a comfort pick and something that there's returning to over and over. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually ban that or if they let him just continue playing Seraphine.
Yeah, that definitely looks sounds about right. I think let's give out the predictions. Abe, what do you think of this game? Who are you favoring for shorting Jianlu and Sammy Diff? And give me the game score as well as who will be the MVP on the winning team.
All right. To be honest, my instincts are telling me it will be Team Shorting Jianlu winning 2-0. Um,
Mhm,
I think maybe Sammy Diff might be able to eke out a win, but Shorting Jianlu, they didn't even take a single loss yesterday.
mhm.
And I think if they continue playing how they played yesterday, that they'll be able to just win 2-0.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm predicting the MVP to either be Eric and on ADC or Ducky in
Mhm,
the jungle. I think
mhm.
Ducky's done a really good job. Um, I don't think I've really seen a game where he's fallen behind, and he just kind of like picks up kills left and right, and then like that just snowballs the whole map ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think definitely one thing we played against Shorin Jiangli, one thing that they did super, super well is their jungle support synergy. I think support always is very on point with roaming on back timings. I think they're very, very difficult to play against if you're playing only like a mid jungle duel and not playing through your support roams as well. As for my prediction, I think I'm predicting that Sammy Diff will take one game from Shorin Jianglu. I think out of three games, I believe there should be one game where Sammy pops off in the jungle because Sammy plays heavily tank, and basically Sammy, I think he's got what it takes. I think his champion pool has what it takes to counter the two Graves echoes from Ducky, and I think Sammy will be MVP in one of the games. Definitely in their win. I think Sammy basically, I think Sammy's got this for at least one game. However, I am still predicting that Shorin Jianglu will win 2-1.
I'd like to point out to the casters that Team Sammy Diff actually has two
Two
Sammys
Sammy.
on the team.
Oh yeah, I remember Sammy S on the top in the top lane. Sammy S in the top lane. All right, what do we think of the top lane matchup? Jianglu versus Sammy. Both are in their team name. One is shorting, one is Sammy Diff. So, which one are we shorting and which one are we taking the long position, Abraham?
Oh man. Yesterday Jian just played Ornn a ton, and he just played really passive in lane. Looked for really good TP roams actually. But just played to his win condition, which is just wait till I'm level 16, upgrading everyone's items and just
Mhm,
win the game off that. So honestly, I think it'll be really hard to get an advantage on Jian in the top lane just because
mhm,
he's really good at wave management. I
mhm,
think we'll see today in the game how his wave management looks, but every chance he gets to freeze a lane, he'll just do it and he'll make top. I I hope Sammy proves me wrong, but it's really I think really crucial to see the wave management in the top lane just because it's such an isolated lane and so far from the rest of
mhm.
the action, especially early game with dragons,
Yeah.
that if any of them can get a freeze going, it'll be detrimental to the other player.
Yeah.
Abe,
Well,
would you say that Jian is likely to go to the moon if he gets away with an Orn pick?
You know, I think he just might, but I don't
yeah.
know who's shorting the Jian Lu other than the team name. I might just take the long position on Jian Lu here.
Ooh, taking the long position for Jianglu. Although one thing that I think we can test a little bit more on Eric's team is that I think they play the same exact team comp for basically all four of their wins. So if you were Sammy Diff's team, which position would you target in the pick and ban phase?
Yeah. So just for the viewers, if they didn't watch through all the games yesterday or look at the match histories, it looked like the mid lane, as I mentioned, only played Seraphine or Ari. In the bot lane, I want to say it was like they played Lucian, Kaisa, and Senna, and then the support was always on Leona or Nautilus. And then their jungle was on Graves or Echo most of the time, and the top lane was on Ornn, as I mentioned, most of the games. So they have really, really strong CC in the top and support positions, and a mid lane is also kind of more of a support type champion on Seraphine, with them funneling a lot of their gold onto Eric in the ADC position. I think honestly that Sammy Diff should try and target the mid lane as much as possible. Try and get Coleman off of some of his comfort picks, such as Seraphine and Ari, um, and make him play more risky champions. Because Seraphine, you can just sit back, press E and Q, and the wave disappears. That really helps their their game plan in terms of playing really passively until they scale to late game. I think I think Team Sammy Diff really needs to get an early lead mid lane and transition that lead into early dragons and getting bot lane ahead as well. What are your thoughts, Vincent or Ben?
Yeah, I feel like Semi Diff, I think they got a tough task in front of them. I think for them, I think they really, really have to have a strong mid laner or exploit the mid lane differences on Eric's team in order to eke out a win. I think in terms of the jungle, I think the jungle mid will be extremely important, not only in getting that lead, but also spreading it to the rest of the map. I think their top lane it looks like it will be a defensive matchup for Sammy S, and their bot lane I would say the best is probably go even with Madre the Flame and Cherry Boba. So I think they're looking to get eke out a win through that mid jungle synergy and basically try to expand that lead through first early dragons, through bot dives, and basically just get that mid jungle gap going.
Yeah, I think another thing to consider is the bot lane fights. I know Cherry Boba typically on his Nautilus and Leona, he plays pretty aggressively. He makes really great use of the alcoves and to break line of sight and just kind of catch them off guard.
Yeah.
And oftentimes Jian will look for a teleport. And
Mhm.
so some of those early bot lane fights can turn into 3v3s and 4v4s really, really quickly. So it'll be
Mhm.
interesting to see how Sammy and Jian both use their teleports to help their team in the bot lane.
Hey, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. All right. At the moment, I think we're waiting for the draft to get set up. I think we got so BZK, is it possible for us to pull up the draft on pentaq.bp?
I can pull up the drafts, but they're not in game. Oh wait,
Okay.
they just sent it to me. Okay.
Okay. Sounds
Um,
good. Sounds good.
Also for the viewers, we can just quickly go over the rules in terms of side selection. So the first seed in each of these semifinal matches will get side selection, and so in this match that'll be Team Shorting Jianlu, and it looks like they chose blue side. Um, and then each subsequent game, the loser of the previous game will get to choose their side.
Okay. All right. So we're hopping into the draft right away. And so for those of you guys that are watching the stream, so Eric Johnson, they banned 3 jungle ban. Olaf Ramis plus Graves, and Lawrence team banned Singe, Ornn, and Seraphine. So basically we're guaranteed Coleman to play a new mid lane champ and Jian to probably play a new champ in the top lane. I think I completely agree with Lawrence's team strategy. I think this is exactly the way to go. Basically test Eric's team's top laner and mid laner in terms of what to do. And it looks like Eric's team first pick Malzahar right here, and Lauren's team counter pick with a Nivea pick.
Yeah,
So,
so could I just highlight that I really like Lauren's team's bans. Those are I think exactly what I was looking for. The Singed ban is of course because Jianlu is a well-respected Singed one trick, and so have to ban that out.
mhm,
But Malzahar is actually one of Coleman's probably comfort picks. I think it's one of his most played champions, and once he gets to around level 6, he can just kind of EQ a wave and then walk away, and it'll disappear. So it'll be really interesting to see what Lauren's team does pre-6. I think that's when Malzahar is most vulnerable.
I think that's true, and I also
mhm.
think that Anivia can actually quite bully a Malzahar pre Lost Chapter, because Malzahar doesn't have the actual mana sustain to clear out a wave, and Anivia's auto attacks are actually just way stronger than Malzahar's because of the
Yeah.
animation and attack speed buffs that she's gotten.
I agree, and also for Blub the Boxer, who will be playing that Nivea, that's also I think his most played champion, his most comfortable. Um, so we'll see if he's able to get the advantage in that lane,
Yeah,
especially
I
in
think
the Lost Chapter.
the next pick with Sammy S picking Garen straight away. So I think Jian plays 2 other champions, I think both in scrims and perhaps in solo queue. He's looking at Sion and as well as a Wukong. I think those 2 champions, I think Sion has an okay matchup against Garen, but I think it's 50-50, and Garen definitely has the upper hand when it comes to playing against Wukong. So I think Lauren's team definitely done his research, and basically picking Garen guarantees that top lane will at least have an even laning phase, not counting jungle interference. And Garen is relatively good early levels, given that basically they'll be playing a tank. Now we're looking at Eric's team coming up with some spicy picks. Leona and Udyr.
Yeah, Vincent, can
What
you
are
tell
your
us a bit
thoughts
about
there?
the Udyr pick? I saw you've been playing that champion quite a bit, although I don't think he will be going exactly the same build as you typically go.
Okay, so for the viewers that don't know, I followed the school of Alpha Deer, which is you go press the attack on Udyr and you build all Trinity Force into Bork into tank items. Basically, you just try to go for that split push. You got to open the gates, run it straight through. That's what you're looking to do on the Udyr. And Udyr, if he's going that kind of play style, then I think he has a very good time in this game. But if you're going the phase rush tank build, late game is you're kind of useless, Loki. Against Anivia and Morgana, it's gonna be tough. Anivia, I would say, is one of the hardest counters to Udyr late game. You just wall them off, Udyr has to run around, and sometimes you have to run through a different wall. So one idea that Udyr can have is maybe you go with the Prowler's Claw into Flash, and maybe you try to one-shot them. But, for those of you that are not following the school of Alpha Deer, it's gonna be a little bit tough. I think Phase Rush Tank is going to be a little bit rough.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Ducky play Udyr. So it'll be really interesting to see which strategy he goes.
I
I
think
know,
he
I know,
just started
Vincent.
practicing some more of it today, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it
And
looks
also,
like he did play, I believe, 2 games of solo queue right before the start of this, and he won both games. So he does like to go chem tank into Lich Bane, and then maybe into Deadman's. Basically, try to be as fast as possible, just run around the map and be a little bit annoying. I think Udyr definitely offers you very strong early game control to whatever Sammy's going to play. And the fact that Sammy is saving his jungler to either the last pick or to the earlier pick could signal that there is going to be some sort of spicy pick that Sammy has prepared for us. I think Udyr one champion that Sammy does play is Echo, and I think Echo against Udyr is going to be a really tough matchup for the Echo because Udyr can just run the Echo down unless Echo gets extremely fed.
I don't think he wants to pick Echo into Udyr, Leona, Malzahar.
Yeah,
That does not
definitely.
seem like a good time.
Yeah, and if you look at Sammy's champion pool, I'm not entirely sure what other champs he has left.
He still has his
Um,
Zac. He still has almost all of his tank junglers available, and it looks like he might be
oh,
picking
that
that
is
up.
true. Zach, yeah, Zach against their team is actually, I would say, is pretty good. I think there's one game in solo queue that I remember fondly where I play against the jungler whose name is Jungle Zach. And I got completely rocked by him, and he went Magic Pen Boost into Dark Seal, and basically just camped the heck out of our bot lane, and got basically every time they walk bot, there would be a kill bot lane.
There is a concern though that like if you're playing a tank jungler like Zac into Udyr, Udyr might just really outpace you in the early game jungle clear.
Yeah,
Especially
that's
if
definitely
his
a
own
concern.
lanes can build up pressure. You can just get double scuttled as in a Zac here.
Yeah, but I think looking at the early matchup, I think mid lane Anivia definitely has the early edge against Malzahar here. In terms of the early
Oh,
push, one thing you do have to watch out for is the Leona early roams, much better than Morgana as well.
I
But if
think
you're
that's a
picking something like Vayne,
Morgana. Actually, it is a Morgana mid. Looks like they're picking Vayne ADC maybe.
Vayne ADC I think is relatively disrespectful against Anivia. I think it's pretty difficult to play Vayne against Anivia in most situations, just because how short range Vayne is and how disruptive the wall Anivia can be. But I think against certain dive like Zac and Garen, I think Vayne can be very good.
also, it's I think important to keep in mind that that is one of Eric's most played champions. Um,
Hmm.
he does like to make a couple highlight videos of himself playing Vayne. So it'll be
Hmm.
interesting. This is the first time I think he's pulling out this tournament.
Hmm.
I was expecting something more like a Kaisa, but I guess they saw the Zac and Garen. They really want to get some of that damage from Vayne.
I would like to
Yeah.
point out though that every highlight video that Eric's either made of himself playing Vayne or asked me to make of himself has ended with him dying. So it looks
Sometimes you
like they
have to
lock
be
in the Psy on top for Jian after getting 4 bans targeted towards him.
Yep.
And
Sion
Lauren,
top for Jian Liu. I think definitely not as strong of a team fight with Sion Udyr top lane, but it will have to come down to the executions. Compared to replace that with Ornn and Seraphine, Sion and Malzahar just cannot compare. They're not on the same level in terms of scaling, in terms of wave clear, and in terms of ease of execution.
Well, I
yeah,
don't know about scaling. We also have the infinite health to think about from Sion. Lauren
That
locks
is,
in Caitlyn ADC into this.
wow, okay.
hey,
I
that's
was gonna
very,
say,
very spicy.
I think that's one of Lauren's last comfort picks. I think on ADC, he's really well known for the Caitlyn, Jin, and MF. I'd say.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess he just wanted to go back to that comfort pick.
Yeah, I think bot lane is definitely a winning matchup. Caitlyn Morgana is insanely good against Vayne Leona here. I think it's unless the Leona is extremely good, and whenever Udyr comes, I don't think Udyr can get off super super good ganks if the Morgana plays it properly. But you have to consider that Morgana will be the sub or will be the first time that he's playing the tournament. He did not play yesterday, and basically, I think they got a good shot. I think looking at the draft, I think Lauren actually has. This might be one of the games that Lauren actually takes from Eric.
I personally,
Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of Caitlyn Morgana. I think it's a really overrated lane, personally.
Mhm.
I also don't
I
really
know the last
consider
time.
Morgana a true counter to Leona.
I know the last time I played Morgana support, about 2 weeks ago, I did not have any fun. The auto text felt so slow in lane. I don't know. I felt pretty useless. We'll see how it does against Leona here. I I agree with
Mhm.
Ben. I don't think it's the biggest lead, or at least I don't think it's as big of a lead as you point out, Vincent. Um,
Mhm.
I think it might be a bit closer, but we'll see.
Yep. Okay. All right. We're looking to get into game right away for Amazing People Rule versus Madre the Flame, whose team name is Sammy Diff versus Shorting Jianlu. So we're looking to a very, very exciting semifinal start. I would say the draft is very, very even. But before we get into a game, a word from our sponsor. Dropod. Dropod is a Williams alumni funded social media and gaming startup centered around making it easier to connect with friends to play online multiplayer games. One part gaming community and one part social media app. Dropod just launched and is in open beta. Dropod hopes that the Williams network will be a major part of its community, so go check them out in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. All right.
Right.
Uh,
Looks like some players are just taking bathroom breaks, but I'm sure after everyone is done relieving themselves, we'll be able to get the game started.
yeah.
All right. So based on this draft, do we have any favorites from the captains?
For me, I think definitely uh, not judging player skill, I definitely favor the right side of the composition, or I definitely favor Sammy Diff composition. But I think this game is going to heavily, heavily rely on Sammy Diff's win condition in both the mid lane and also in the bot lane. If they were able to get a lead, basically the game would be very, very easy to play from ahead. But for Eric's team, I think there is always going to be outplay potential with Vayne, and basically Vayne is pretty good against their front line, but against some of their back line, it could be a little bit rough. But
Yeah.
I think overall, if I saw this team composition in solo queue, I would definitely want to be on Lawrence's team.
I think there's a concern though that if you pick a Caitlyn ADC, until you get to like 5 items and you have a Lord Doms and an IE, you're gonna take thousands of years trying to get through a Leona Udyr Scion.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think one thing to point out is the blue team has a lot of tanky champs and a lot of CC to go along with that. You know, Caitlyn's gonna have to pay the Quicksilver Sash tax, or Malzahar's just gonna be able to press R and win the team fight by doing so. Um, so that all
But I
said,
think for Morgana, the black shield should always be on Caitlyn. I think Anivia is you still have to egg, so I think maybe Anivia pays the tax, and then Morgana just always shield the Caitlyn,
I
right?
don't think Black Shield's not reliable against something like a Malzahar ulti though.
Hmm.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, they do also have the follow up with like the Leona ult and then Udyr stun. Um, well, actually, every single person on the team has some form of CC. Um, Obviously, the Malzahar, Leona, Udyr are probably more reliable than the Vayne and Sion.
Hmm.
But I think they have so many sources of CC that Caitlyn will have to either take cleanse this game or buy a QSS. I think Morgana Black Shield will be able to block maybe one or two of the CCs, but after that, you won't be able to really.
Yeah. I think this game, I think the blood. I think one mistake that perhaps I would like to see Eric's team do in the second game, I think, is definitely banning out Anivia. I think Anivia over one of the junglers from Rich Game Buddy, I think is definitely a good idea. I think Anivia counters um basically very heavy engage style if placed properly. I think Anivia is one of the key champions that Blow Up the Boxers picks, and if you can counter that, I think Lauren's team definitely has a shot here.
Yeah, I agree. I think a strong enough Anivia performance could almost solo carry this game for Lauren's team. You
Anivia
can
is
make it
very
impossible to play for Sion and Udyr, while also
Yeah.
just doing insane amounts of damage to the squishies and the tanks alike.
Hmm. Yep, completely agree there. As we're going through the picks once again, it will be in the pick and ban orders that we previously showed. So let's see. Let's ask Twitch chat what they think. What do you guys think of the draft so far? Who are your favorite? Shorting Jian versus Sammy Diff for the first game.
So I held a poll earlier, and it was slightly favored to Sammy Diff, but that was pre-draft.
Oh, let's see those numbers post draft. Maybe Sammy Diff has indeed popped up a little bit better. I think Sammy Diff. I have some faith in Sammy Diff. I think Sammy Diff, their team comp is not flashy, but it does what it does. And I think on the left side, I think it's gotta be the Vayne. Madre the Flame, he's gotta try to smurf on them.
Agreed. Madrid Flame will probably try and farm up a lot. Maybe go from early plays with Leona, but I think his game plan will try to be in scale up. I mean, that's just kind of what Vaynes typically do. They also have the Scion scaling, and Malzahar also needs to hit a couple of items to hit hard. Um,
Mhm.
I really want to focus on where the Zac ganks early game on the side of Sammy Diff.
Yeah.
I think
Abraham,
his-
you're the Zach expert in house. So how is Zach? What kind of path does Zach generally take in the early game? I know Udyr can just basically take any path because he clears so fast.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. I think Team Sammy the first of all needs to set up some vision level 1 or 5 point and at least ward the other side of the jungle away from where Zach's starting, because Udyr can
Mhm.
come in any time and just invade early on and make his day miserable.
Mhm.
Personally, I think for this game I would probably just go for a 4 or 5 camp clear, and then
Mhm.
just walk to the other side. Try and figure out where Udyr's starting
Yeah.
on the map, and then work my way towards there to get the scuttle so I can
Mhm.
avoid any fights with Udyr, because I think Udyr wins the straight up 1v1 early game.
Yeah. I think one thing that I would really like Lauren's team to do is definitely a level 1 late invade to mess up the Udyr. I think their team composition is just so good at late invading, and Anivia and Morgana can definitely, if they get a pick, they can just snowball from the jungle from there. And I think early on, Udyr is pretty prone to getting kited, at least level 1 composition wise. And I think maybe Sammy has sacrificed some CS and just do a 5-man invade late. I think if I were the left side team, I would definitely be looking to do that.
I mean, at the same time, I think Anivia and Morgana are very strong level 1 with their
Yeah.
Qs.
Oh, excuse me,
mean,
apologies. I meant Lauren's team. The right side team is looking to do something level 1 to set up the draft.
Also, something that was pointed out on Twitch chat by none other than Haswell, another
Another
highly
famous
respected player.
jungler from Williams College.
Yeah, he did point out that the red team's CC isn't exactly reliable. And Vayne, Eric does have the mechanics to dodge quite a number of skill shots.
I'll
It's
agree.
true that if you get,
You don't have a stun, but you don't like playing Vayne into a Glacial Storm from Anivia or whatever on Earth
That
that
is
ability is
true.
called.
and it's also true that like sure he might be able to dodge 1 or 2 skill shots, but they only need one to land to be able to blow her up. You know, the Anivia Q, Morgana Q, Zac E, any of those land, I think Vayne is just dead in a team fight.
Also, a CC
But
that people don't talk about as much, Garen Q, Silence, means you can't roll if that ever does land on him. And I've
Yeah.
seen that happen before.
Yep. Yeah, I think Eric sometimes he gets a little bit too hypey and he just pops off completely, man. I think and sometimes he gets a little bit too hypey and he just ints completely as well. So you really have some sort of coin flip here and there. Whenever I deal with Eric and Eric Johnson picks Vayne, sometimes in the top lane, sometimes in the bot lane, but generally in the top lane. It's not the best, I have to say.
I think I can attest to that. You know, when he plays the Vayne top, he really likes to go for early game plays, and oftentimes the jungler will just camp him there. I don't think he'll do the same thing in this game, especially because he's bot lane and it's a tournament setting. I'm expecting him to take it a lot more slowly. He knows that he needs to scale up a bit before he can, you know, really go for really risky plays.
Okay. All right, so a word from our sponsor right before we get into the game. Bamboo, take it away.
Or basically once like the game starts.
Okay.
Oh, and I just realized I can.
Wait, I'm not streaming.
Looks like we're on the rift. Okay. All right. Looks like we are on the rift for Maldred the Flame, Ducky, JP Morgan, and Cherry Boba, and Coleman versus Blob the Boxer, Sammy as Not Electro, Rich Chang Buddy, and Amazing People Rule. So Sammy Diff versus Shorting Jian Lu. We are getting into the game. Now looking at the runes and mastery, looks like Udyr took Resolve second. I strongly disagree with that. I think you have to get the tenacity from the precision tree over here as Udyr. And basically allows you to skip some part of the boots. Oh, looks like let's talk about the level 1 setup. Looks like they're just crowding.
Yeah,
Just
wow. It
crowding
looks
the
like
red buff. Yeah,
Team
they're expecting a level 1.
They were expecting level 1 invade. We know Scion's Q is extremely powerful level 1. If you get like a 5-man knockup fully charged, that just wins a team fight there.
Yeah.
But I guess Team Sammy Diff here, they were just going for the really safe, 5-point, and doesn't seem like we'll see too much action. It'll be interesting to see where Zac actually chooses to start. They didn't really go out for any vision, so they don't have any idea where Udyr's starting as of now.
Yeah. And Udyr does not need a leash to full clear and hit Scuttle before 315. So if I were Ducky, I'm looking for basically a leashless start and basically making sure that they have no idea where I started. So I could show up anytime in Zac's jungle. Looks like they're going for the
JP Morgan I think just missed that Q. If I saw it correctly, he charged up his Q maybe a tenth of a second too early, and it just did not do any damage to the blue. So effectively,
sure, guys, invest in that. Jian Liu.
Maybe I
The
should have
shorting is
started.
starting, boys. We're getting off that Ornn duty and into that Scion duty. Okay, good auto trades from Jian against Sammy, yes. It's not bad. Looks like a very, very standard start. Zach is skipping his golem for now.
Yeah.
Bot lane, as expected. Caitlyn Morgana should have the early shove. Wow, they're just fishing for it and they're hitting.
And they
Just
hit the
keep
level
on
first.
poking.
See if anything comes from that. No, it looks like they shoved the lane maybe a bit too quick. That looks like it'll just go right into the tower where Madri would probably prefer it to be, rather than being zoned from the minion wave.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like Blood the Boxer is hitting some of his Qs, basically get that spell shield off. I think one trick you can do on Anivia versus Malzahar is that you should definitely try to auto them, get that spell shield off, and then try to land the rest of the skill. I think bot lane and mid lane are both pushing heavily for priority for this Scuttle Crab coming up for Sammy. I think for Udyr, if he were to contest, he definitely needs some help here from his bot lane and from his mid lane. They're both getting shoved in very hard. If I were the Udyr here, I would just recon and go to the top Scuttle. I don't think you contest the bot Scuttle here. But it looks like Block the Boxer is
Resetting. Wow, that's
resetting here. Oh
that's
wow.
an interesting reset time.
Okay.
Does seem like Udyr will just go for the bot scuttle. And
Yeah.
really, we were talking about the fast clear times earlier. That's really being exemplified here. You know, Zach's still working on his 5th camp. Udyr already cleared the 6th and scuttle. And
Yeah.
wow.
And since Zach hit that plant, they know exactly where he is. So it looks like the Zach will get double scuttle right here. Given that top lane most likely won't have priority for a while. Although maybe if they play through mid, they could get something going on. But Zach definitely slower than Udyr here. As Sammy said once before, you know, jungle diff is laner diff. Oh, that Anivia resetting there is a little bit rough for the jungle. But at the same time, Zach is clearing really slowly. But I think overall the game plan is still okay. You don't have to eke out every single advantages here. As Zach, you can just play a relatively safe early game and hopefully you're able to basically be okay. Oh, Udyr starting with the counter jungle.
Oh man.
Like even now, whenever Udyr runs into Zach, like Zach, there's no way for Zach to fight him. And
already a level
he's looking
behind.
for. Oh man. Yep, he runs into Udyr.
He just has to leave.
Yeah,
Wow.
he just has to leave.
Go to
Can
his
see the top lane priority as well. This matchup will be really tough until Sammy gets level 6 and is able to get some good ganks off. And play for the late game team fight, to be honest. Like, Udyr is going to be up in CS. Maybe, if this game goes on long enough, probably Flame Horizons to Zach, if he plays it properly. Overall, Zach, this is definitely one of the tougher matchups.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he starts ganking at about level 4 or 5. I'm expecting him to maybe look for a gank after clearing Gromp here.
Yeah.
Might put him up at level 5, which, you know, every increased rank on the slingshot of Zach increases the range, and that's really, really important for these ganks from Fog of War.
Yeah. I think if we take a look at the gold right now, it's just the blue team is ahead about 300 gold. I think that's just strictly farm difference from the Udyr. Actually, it's even more than that. So the Udyr is already ahead of Zach by about 500 gold. But Zach is basically a more useful champion late game. So accounting for that advantage is actually not as bad. One thing to note in the bot lane is that Vayne has already reset, and Caitlyn definitely has not reset yet. This is definitely a very, very slow early game. I feel like we're on the LCK broadcast, man. What do you think? What do you guys think of the game so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty standard what we expected. The Udyr obviously outpacing the Zach in terms of clear speed. Important to note that Malzahar just got his last chapter, actually. Nothing really happened mid lane. I think from here on out, Malzahar has a very, very smooth lane. It's kind of presses EQW and walks away from the minion wave and it disappears.
Yep.
Anivia has to stay a bit closer with her ult running before the minion wave disappears, but I'm expecting mid lane to be a farm fest from this point out.
Yeah. This looks like it's going to be basically a very heavy farm fest until much later on, until maybe the first dragon or the first herald, whenever they're looking to fight. Oh, looks like Udyr is looking to get gank off in mid lane. Oh, this is. I don't think they kill him. He does have the egg.
I think she may just be.
Oh, here comes the Zac, perhaps. No.
Wow, they don't get the kill.
They don't get the kill. Yeah, definitely you do not go for that if unless you see where Zac is. So I think that's definitely the right play. But now that you do see the Zac, oh, Leona just walked mid and ignited.
Wow, and that's the Leona run we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, Cherry Boba with a flash ignite and picks up the kill. Definitely a mental tilter right there.
I was gonna say mid lane was a flash for flash trade, but Malzahar shoved the wave in, and Anivia missed out on so much here. Malzahar can just shove in another wave. Zac has to clean it up, and Anivia is gonna be down some XP now.
Yeah, it looks like top lane Sion is shoving Garen out of his lane. Looks like Garen is probably going to be forced to TP back for this wave, and now Sion is probably just looking to get a dragon set up and basically play from there.
I think that was an interesting TP from Malzahar just now. I don't think he needs to TP there. I think he had enough time to walk back to lane and not miss any minions, especially because it's a siege minion right there. So I'm expecting red team to maybe take advantage of that. At first I was thinking top lane Garen just expended TP and Sion still has TP, and they might want to do like a Sion Malzahar both TP to bot lane type of play, but they can't do that anymore with the Malzahar. And Anivia's TP will be up very soon, so even if Sion does TP bot lane, we might get an explosive 4v4 with the junglers there as well.
Yeah. I think for now, I think this is definitely just a farm fest. Like Udyr just straight up power farm. Basically, he's up 30 CS on the Zac. Zac has to look for more opportunities once he comes level 6. Because I think there's already a 2-level difference in the jungle just from farming. Like Zac has to either basically look for ganks or counter ganks here at this point. I think Zac is going to fall more and more behind as the game go on, because Udyr has the Wraith Warrior, so he knows exactly where Zac is and going to counter jungle that Wraith every single time.
Yeah, I really wonder like when we're gonna see his gank from the Zac. So far he's just farmed.
Oh, this is the golem. This is the golem. This is super disrespectful. Ooh. They're looking for a gank top. Sammy S looks like. Oh.
We'll see if he lives this. I think they just get the kill.
I think they get the kill too. Zac, you should not be here. Oh. Does anyone have TP? Ducky is out of mana for now.
If Zac E does come up soon, he might be able to go for it, but looks like they just go out. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, and Zac gets the scuttle into the juicy fruit and probably just full clear the rest of his jungle for now. Looking at the mid lane matchup, it looks like... Oh, we just got a solo kill. Oh, it's probably a trade of kill for kill in the bot lane.
Over to Caitlyn, that's pretty important to note. She'll have an item advantage over Vayne.
Yep. And Caitlyn still has flash. Morgana still has flash. Definitely looking. If I were the Zac, I'm definitely looking bot lane. Know some spots. Morgana can just next time Morgana's R comes up is just flash R. Probably a double kill if Zac is there.
Wow, JP Morgan's being super disrespectful there. He just takes the plate from behind Jian. Not much to do there. I do think I want to point out that it has been hard for the Zac to gank. Bot lane hasn't pushed out several times, and every time that the blue side pushes in, they've had the tri-bush area warded, and so that's typically where Zach will want to gank from, and he just can't find that angle.
Yeah. And I think the late dragon is actually beneficial for the red team. I think who do you favor in terms of the scaling?
I think I like the red team. They're
Mhm.
Yanivia with the area control, and also Zach. Once he gets to level 9 is where he maxes out the E range. Really useful for setting up steals, setting up just like long range initiations. But
Wow,
yeah,
look at that. Look at the Udyr item right now. He already has his chem tank into the Merc Tread. He's
I'm
definitely going to
surprised-
be a very fast person around the map.
I'm surprised that Udyr hasn't gone for an earlier dragon. He definitely has been able to solo it since since whenever
Level
dragons-
5, basically.
Yeah.
Whenever the dragon's up. But I think one thing to know is that they never had bot lane priority. And but also I think Jian expended his teleport top lane, so maybe they're waiting until oh, what is this Garen doing? Oh, they're looking for an invade in the top side. Oh, this Garen needs to get out. Or turn on the Malzahar. Oh, this is a
Malzahar.
super good wall from the Anivia. Here comes the Malzahar. Malzahar still
Garen
has
went-
R.
Oh,
Oh,
they get him? They do get the kill.
they
Wow.
do get him, but
But on the backside,
Anivia.
blown up by the Udyr. Zach is
Yeah.
still fighting. He also has passive. Garen's just watching on the sidelines. He can't really do much.
Oh, the
And
double
that's the
flash.
flashes. Wow. So both mid laners die. Straight 1-for-1. But blue team heavily favored that fight. And Eric gets a double kill in the bot lane. Trades back with the Morgana ignite. You definitely, as Caitlyn, hate to see that because Vayne just got
Yeah.
600 gold. Your support took the 300 gold. And you only get 150 gold as the Caitlyn.
Yeah, definitely. And Caitlyn still has flash up here. This is definitely really rough. Oh, Ducky is being extremely disrespectful. Yeah, knowing that. Is there a dive coming up top lane? Or is this... Oh, that is super close. Udyr just spraying them. Oh my god, let's go, Udyr. That's what I want to see. Oh my god, let's go. Get the double kill.
Did they get the shutdown off of that? Okay.
They do get a shutdown. It allows Zach to come back in the game a little bit, but I think that is first tower, so it's definitely worth it for JP Morgan and Ducky. Great top jungle synergy right over there.
And it looks like Caitlyn's trying to pick up Scuttle, but they're just gonna zone her off. I mean, I think from here on out, Udyr can just kind of run wherever he wants. He has such a massive lead.
Yeah,
Zach
definitely.
Zach is 3 levels down, 2 levels down, 2 levels down now. And after that double kill bot lane, they should be able to just pressure for a dragon soon.
Yeah, definitely looks like it. And the mid lane is actually not... Oh, this is a super good engage from the Zach. This is super good engage. Caitlyn, let's go. Oh, this is a shutdown. This is into the dragon.
Oh, this
Super,
is
super
beautiful.
important.
Wow. They get both kills here for Caitlyn. That is huge.
This is exactly why we drafted the Zach. Picks up the bot lane for playing a little bit way too disrespectfully. The double kill for Caitlyn. She's
Caitlyn
back
gets
in this
both
game.
shutdowns, and they get the dragon right here.
Into the Mountain Drake. This is a very important play right here.
Yeah, Tranquil Turtle or Moderated Flame actually, and Cherry Boba definitely bit off a bit more than they could chew. They had no vision on Zach, and they decided to pressure on the Caitlyn. And they pay heavily for that. Wow, that is a massive gold swing for the Caitlyn.
Yeah, I think for the Udyr, I think he needed to focus a little bit more on the objective early games. I think Heralds after the 14 minutes is not as impactful. And the early Drake, I think there are definitely opportunities where he could have gotten a little bit more.
And the second tower will go down here for the blue team. So Udyr will just secure that gold for himself.
I think Anivia without the first tower is going to be a little bit tougher. Anivia really wants to stay at that mid tower and just keep on wave clearing. So this gives blue team a little bit more control over the map. It allows Cherry Boba to expand the vision into the jungle. It looks like Zach is coming again.
And they put down the ward, but
Put down the ward. I'm not entirely sure if that saw Zach. Oh, here comes the Zach again.
misses the Q, and the
Here comes the TP.
Black build is a bit late. We get 2 TPs coming in. The Leona onto Caitlyn.
Caitlyn definitely need to flash that Leona ult. This is just a 4v4 right now.
Caitlyn's still very healthy in the back though, but 2 of her teammates just got killed, and that's a third. Wow, that is a 3-for-0. Will they look for a 4-for-0?
Yup, Udyr is extremely tanky right here. Oh, this is a 1-for-1.
Wow, I think Andre the Flame just tanked the tower shot there, or an auto attack. He definitely did not need to go for that. I think it's fine in the grand scheme of things, but you know, you definitely want to minimize how much gold you get over to the Caitlyn.
Yeah.
Now, if we look at the gold across the map, so it looks like ADC is pretty much dead even. Mid lane is a slight advantage for Malzahar, but top and jungle, wow, that's a 3,000 gold lead top lane, and a 2.5 thousand gold lead in the jungle. And it looks like that gold lead is actually just gonna expand right here.
Yeah, this early game is really, really rough for the Zac.
As you mentioned, the Anivia without the first tower, it really hurts. I mean, I think Anivia just needs to let Malzahar push into the tower and wave clear there, rather than being past those little entryways into mid lane.
Yeah, it looks like the blue team has opened up an almost 6.5k gold lead, and that's still expanding. So I think in terms of the map pressure, in terms of the first 3 towers, blue team definitely has an edge. I think overall, what do you think of this game in terms of just the general level of laning from both teams? I think in terms of laning, I think they have gone relatively evenly outside of some skirmishes, both in the topside jungle and also basically around the lane, or in that bottom fight just now.
Yeah,
I think in terms of laning, it was okay for both teams. And then I think the fact that Zac outpaced the Udyr so much, I think that in of itself is a huge issue.
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of these fights have just been with someone ganking a lane and having a numbers advantage. Especially mid lane, that's pretty much every time Anivia has gotten killed is due to someone ganking from the blue team. And that's really just due to map pressure that Udyr exerts from clearing so quickly. And then that really successful Leona roam, that was the first kill last time.
Yeah. I think there has not been any super big laning difference. I think it's just better rotation, faster clears from the blue team that marginally eventually got this advantage. I think I would say honestly they probably won wanted this matchup, like Udyr versus any sort of slow clearing tank junglers that Sammy plays right here.
Yeah. I think I do disagree just a little bit. This top lane, Sion was able to get 4 tower plates, and then he got the tower at around 14 minutes and 20 seconds. So that was a ton of solo gold for him. And that, I think, is, as I mentioned before the game, I think mainly due to his ability to manage the waves. You know, CS-wise, it's not a crazy lead in the top lane, and it hasn't been the whole game. It's been pretty even, maybe a slight lead here and there for Sion. But really, the wave management and allowing him to crash huge waves and get tower plates, I think that was really what did it for top lane.
Yeah, and also the Garen second pick, or the Garen first round. Oh, Sammy misses an E right here and gets stunned by the Udyr. Udyr just runs away. He's just fishing for it. He's just playing super disrespectfully.
Oh, and the Morgana misses. Wow. I do think Sion has here.
Yeah, Sion is looking to turn.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Morgana has to flash away, and they get the cut down. Wow, JP Morgan went for a really risky play there. He knew he was 1v2, and he still went for the fight. That's a massive goal swing for Garen.
Yeah, that's a massive goal swing for Garen, but you got a question that are back in. That seems extremely disrespectful. But I think at the same time, I think they know they're far ahead enough that he's trying to make those kind of plays that maybe bleed into the second game, where it will affect Lawrence team's mental a little bit more. Do you think that's a good strategy? Oh, looking over here, Zac is just...
I think the Sion could have just ulted away like I thought he was going to do. I mean, his team was going to get the dragon no matter what. Like,
yeah, I completely agree. But if he...
Obviously, I'm talking about it after
this. If he tilts not Electro, who didn't play yesterday, with a double kill, ooh, that's going to be a little bit rough. That's going to be a lot of silent comms from Lawrence's team right here. Also, have you ever been in Lawrence's team's calm. Who do you think is the shot caller on the team? Is it Sammy? Is it
I have not. I I would suspect that it'd be mainly Sammy shot calling as he's the jungler, and then maybe Lauren as well. I played with Glove the Boxer a couple of times, but his like mic was muted. I'm not sure if he still has his mic muted or if he shot calls more, but I suspect that it's mainly Sammy and Lauren that are calling the shots.
Yeah. I think overall, I think this game we're expecting like blue team to just slowly choke out the red side team. It looks
Yeah.
like they're looking at Baron. There's no vision. Caitlyn is boss side without a blue trinket. And Udyr is just here, like, roaming through the jungle.
Udyr's so disrespectful. He's not even in the pit to secure the Baron. That's how much
Yeah.
pressure they have on the map. He can just,
Oh, here comes the Zac. Oh, he is just a little bit
Vayne
late.
Vayne with 2 items, and the first being Kraken Slayer is just way too much damage onto Baron.
Udyr is just running around. Oh, here comes the Condemn. Oh.
There we go. The Malzahar R, just kind of press a single button and delete the enemy ADC.
If you are the red team, what kind of comms or what kind of things would you say to like basically try to come back into this game, set up a better matchup for Sammy next game? Like what would you do for next game?
Wow, I'm surprised Sammy didn't gank mid at all. I think part of it is early on Nivea shoved. But there were a couple times where the lane was pushing in towards Nivea, and Zac really didn't look mid. I think he really needed to abuse that, or at least look for that option. So I think he might have to maybe pick a jungler that ganked a bit earlier. It was really interesting because this Udyr Zac matchup, Zac is known for ganking, but just because of the speed at which Udyr cleared the jungle, he like really couldn't gank super early on. And now it's like 4,000 gold lane in that single jungle, right? So
yeah, I think in terms of like clear, I think maybe like Udyr, I think the toughest matchup against Udyr is probably going to be something like Ivern, something that basically helps the team a lot, but also at the same time is able to be around the map or basically out ganks and out like match the pace of Udyr. And I think for the Zac jungle, I think Zac is just maybe not the pick for it if your lanes doesn't have the best CC or doesn't have the best engage.
yeah, again, the vast majority of the gold lane is coming from the jungle or jungle and top roles.
Yeah.
I think at this point, red team just needs to try and wave clear to stall a bit for Nivea and Caitlyn to scale more. At the same time, the Vayne and Sion are just scaling. I feel like the health and Vayne just the items.
Yeah, they're up by 10k at 24 minutes. This definitely looks like it's going to be a relatively difficult game for the red team to come back. Man, I feel like Rich Game Buddy this game is not really playing to his name. He's not very rich.
Poor game, buddy.
Poor Game Buddy, man.
Oh, and we didn't even highlight this earlier, but Udyr did finish the Flame Horizon. He's 114 CS on the Zac.
Yeah. Udyr just running around being disrespectful. Constantly popping that W shield. Running around being annoying.
I really would have liked to see an Nivea wall there. They definitely had a pick right there. Malzahar was a bit too extended far out, but they chose not to go for it. I think red team really needs to look for picks with the Nivea and Morgana here. I think it's like one of the ways to get back into this game. Obviously, they're still up against an 11,000 deficit, but every single opportunity to chip away at the gold lead.
Yeah, I think overall this game is... Ooh, that's just being super annoying. I feel like at this point, Ducky is just running around the map, trying to tilt them.
Yeah, the fact that Ducky had like no teammates nearby and is able to do that with no repercussions, like that's a
takes
really
the move off himself. He's gotta do it himself. Just runs around the map. Oh, here comes JP Morgan and a kill.
looks like this will just be the siege for the bot inhib, possibly.
Okay, Udyr is just sprinting. Oh, this is
And they
not
get the
looking too
combo
hot.
on Caitlyn, and they just kill Garen as well. Vayne is
Okay,
fishing.
is this a montage play? Let's see it.
Oh, he's looking for it,
He's looking for a montage play.
and it looks like they might just go for the end here. I mean, I don't see what they can do 2v4. Udyr's not even with his team anymore. He's looking top. That's how far ahead they are.
Udyr is. Oh boy.
He really just
Looks
looped
like a
around.
surrender from the red team for now. All right, the first game is in the books. We got shorting Jian basically coming away with a top jungle difference.
Yeah, whoever
This
was
game,
short,
if you look at the damage done, I think is relatively indicative of what happened this game. I think if you look at the CS number, just a huge flame horizon over the Zac. There was not a lot of setup for the Zac. I think definitely coming out of the draft, Zac has a tough matchup into the Udyr, but if he's not able to find those ganks, it's going to be rough.
whoever was shorting Jian, I mean, they might be facing some big losses
Yeah,
after that game.
showing Jian, it looks like he's going to the moon at this pace.
Wow, he did the most damage in the game.
Yeah.
Part of
Beating
that
on the
might-
Garen, man. Beating on the Garen. The Garen felt kind of a little bit sad over there. Beating on the Garen constantly.
Yeah, I think the story of this game really was jungle just farmed so fast for the blue team. Top lane was like slowly mounting a
Mhm.
lead. I don't think it was super obvious at the time,
Yeah.
but he was just getting plate after plate and then extending that gold lead. Bot lane I think was relatively even. They're trading back and forth, but the advantages from jungle and top lane kind of leaked over. Also
Yeah.
mid lane, because Leona roamed mid, Udyr ganked mid a lot, and they were able to get mid slightly ahead, and that just translated over to
Yeah.
them being able to get bot lane ahead as well.
The
Yep.
thing is, if you're picking a Caitlyn and going even, then what was really the point of picking a champion like Caitlyn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vayne outscales extremely hard.
Yeah.
She's just, one of the most well-known late game champs, and the fact that they went even in lane,
Mhm.
I think very good for blue team.
I think for the next game, I think Sammy should definitely look to get on something like maybe Talia, maybe Hecarim. I think Talia or Hecarim that full clears and that can basically match the clear speed of Udyr, and basically kind of just like outscale him in terms of team fighting, in terms of basically being faster around the map. I think that would be pretty important. I think that in terms of the draft, I think the only thing that I did not like is not giving Garen the counter pick, not giving Sammy as the counter pick against the Scion. I think that's definitely not. Basically, if you're on the red side, you should always be giving the counter pick to one of your solo lanes. And mid lane had a counter pick, top lane just straight up drafted second. I think that was probably one of the mistakes that they could have rectified. I think if you look at this game in terms of draft order, basically almost every single row, top jungle, as well as support, probably drafted after the blue team. So I think we want to see a little bit more lane counter. We want to see a little bit more, basically a stronger laning phase out of the red team. I think if they can do that, they can secure themselves a mid game lead. I think that will be a lot better.
I think you'll see in professional play oftentimes now jungles are getting picked relatively early because of the clearing speed and the high power of the top meta junglers. Champions like Talia, Olaf, Udyr, they're just able to clear the jungle so much faster than anyone else out there.
I'm a big fan of the Talia pick, as a Talia player
Yeah.
myself, but
Also,
Like, what do we think of Sammy in terms of like what can they do in the next game?
does Sammy play Talia?
he does
Sammy,
actually. Talia is one of his highest mastery champions, but if I
Oh,
think
wow.
if they haven't practiced with it, Talia is a very big change in the jungle dynamic compared to the champions he's been playing in group stages and in this game, which are mostly like tanks and engages.
Yeah.
I think the other champ that he can look into is maybe Hecarim. I think Hecarim or Red King even. like that matches the clear speed of Udyr, and that's able to impact the map a little bit more. That's a little bit more unconditional ganks a little bit early on. I'm definitely looking at maybe a Hecarim pick right here. Honestly, at this point, I think maybe you shift the draft a little bit, and the mid lane advantage is definitely as not as big as we thought it would be. I would say in terms of it didn't really make a huge difference given that there was such a large jungle lead. But I think his team, Rich Game Buddy, definitely like his team definitely needs to help him out at the early scuttle with a Caitlyn Morgana, with a Nivea lane, that's shoving towards the tower. It definitely needs to be an early scuttle secure for
Yeah,
the
I was
Zach.
really surprised I mean, I think one thing is Zach decided to clear both blue and Gromp at the same time, and
Mm-hmm.
that made him late to the scuttle spawn. I think he could have gone directly after blue buff and gotten there for the scuttle spawn.
Yeah,
And when the scuttle spawned, remember, mid and bot were both shoved in. And
yeah.
maybe you just need to call mid lane, hey, stay for 10 seconds while I
Mm-hmm.
take the scuttle, maybe walk down a little bit towards the bush. Bot lane, maybe, start shifting up a little bit into the river. I can
Mm-hmm.
secure the scuttle, and then you guys just go back to,
Yeah.
shoving
Remember
mid.
though, Malzahar forced an Anivia early reset. That's a big part of the reason why Udyr was able to secure it.
I mean, I
Yeah,
don't think Anivia needed to reset there, though. I think
yeah.
he reset for the tier, which I think the early tier is nice, but I think that really set Zach behind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I,
there's nothing else from the clear bot side of the map
Yeah.
at that point.
I think an early
Yep.
tier is a fine thing to reset for if you can get a cheater recall, but I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
about expending your TP just for a tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is I think they should be doing something more heavily towards an early game level one invade. I think that has such a strong level one composition. And to be quite frank, I don't think basically I think maybe if you're watching the VODs of this game, maybe go for a blue side late invade and where Zac starts off on the top side of the Udyr jungle and basically clear towards his red. That could be also a strategy that they can employ. Basically, I think given a standard start, there's no way Zac will out clear any Zac either three camps into a gank into Scuttle, or basically Zac has to counter jungle from level one, given that there is an early level lead.
Yeah.
Um,
Another really unfortunate thing for the Zach was that he didn't realize he started on the same side of the map as Udyr, which meant that he loses both scuttles, right? If he had started blue buff, as traditionally most people might do, just getting leashed by their bot lane and work his way upwards, then he
yeah,
probably would have got the other scuttle. But that couldn't happen.
yep.
We have a question from Twitch chat. Mr. Vincent, who do you fear when you're playing Alpha Deer?
Oh, so when I'm playing, I think like in terms of Udyr, there isn't really any sort of super hard counter in the jungle. I think the worst matchups are Tristana or Vayne or Anivia. Those three champions are just like almost unplayable in a lot of the late game team fights. Um, as basically all the champions that can kite you, that basically puts up terrains to block you, all of those stuff that you just can't run through, those are going to be extremely difficult to play against. As for everything else, I think they're relatively okay. I think Udyr has a pretty even matchup across the board. Maybe sometimes you're scared of like heavy ganking junglers that just completely destroys a lane. Actually, one jungler that I thought that Sammy could try in the next round is Nunu, because Nunu has a substantial um basically Nunu I think is strong across all stages and allows them to spam objective extremely early and extremely fast. And if the Udyr is not focusing on the objective and just heavily clearing the jungle, I think you can basically spam gank into objectives and get your team ahead. I think that is probably going to be one of the key ways that they can basically take the game.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna be heading into draft, and I'd like to point out that Twitch chat thought that Sammy Diff actually won the last game's draft. So we'll see if the same thing pans out this game.
Yeah. Okay, before we get started, I think let's for all the casters, let's have let's have a 5 minute break before the draft starts, and then I think we'll be right back.
back. What's up? Vincent, what are we doing?
Let's bring the stream back on. Looks like they have started drafting already.
Okay.
Ben, are we live? Okay, sounds good. Looks like they're drafting already. They're just spamming through the pick and ban phase. I think they might.
Wow. The first
This
three
is
picks for
almost
Jian
the same exact draft as the first
are
game.
identical.
Yeah. So that was a misfortune pick early instead of I
So
think
Caitlyn at last pick.
no, instead of a Garen pick. So
Oh.
instead of the Garen is right there. So I think they're okay with doing this draft. They're running it back, and I think there's gotta be some new junglers that come out from Sammy, and
They banned
The
the
new that you mentioned.
Vayne.
they banned the Vayne. Okay, I like this. I like this. I think Jian. He plays 3 more champs, so he plays Sion, Wukong, and Cho'Gath. So I think you can't really ban him out completely. So I think Sammy S, if he's comfortable with playing a counter matchup, then I think he should definitely be a last pick. And then I think the most important pick is going to be the jungle pick from Sammy Diff's team.
But do you really think that Vayne was the problem last game?
It was not
At
the
all?
problem. Udyr was the problem last game. And I think Sion maybe worth a ban. Get him off of his comfort. Um, we'll see what happens.
Wow, blue team with the Hecarim ban. I think
Hecarim
that's
ban, yeah.
a very good ban.
Yeah, this is what I was concerned about. If they don't pick an early jungler on Sammy Diff again, then all the junglers that can try to keep up tempo with an Udyr are just gonna get banned out.
Yeah, it looks like this could be probably a Talia angle or a Red King angle. I honestly think that Red King is extremely good against Shori and Jian's team, given that they pick a tank jungler, tanky, probably most likely tanky top, very tanky support, and mid laner. I think once King gets like 3 items with Spirit Visage, there is absolutely no way that that Shori and Jian's team has any way to deal with it.
Are you worried that Red King might be too selfish though towards his team?
I think in order to win the game, I think you have to be selfish because as you can tell from the first game, there was no noticeable lead from any sort of lanes. I think Sammy play for the team a lot, and I think that could be one of the mistakes. I think he's gotta play him for himself, given that he's one of the basically best junglers in the tournament. I think he's got to stop playing super supportive picks and play a little bit more selfishly.
Alright. And Short and Jian are actually considering a Zac ban.
I think this is probably from Eric. Like Eric thinks that Zac is a no skill champ and just presses ER, and
Well,
we did see Vayne get
Eric-
double kill a couple of times, get killed a couple of
Eric
times with
has
Zac.
duoed with Isaac a couple of times, and he seems to enjoy it when it's on his team.
Yeah.
So maybe he just doesn't like playing against it.
hmm
Talia. They recognize the Talia potential.
Yeah, definitely Talia ban is very important here.
And now what does Rich Game Buddy pick here?
Does Rich King Buddy play Ivern? I think Ivern could be insanely good on this team. I think Ivern, no problem with keeping up with Udyr, and Ivern can just kind of like basically just walk around, get a Moby boost, and just support your team, just chill, walk around the map, and like wait for late game.
What about the Nunu, like you mentioned? I feel like
Yeah, Nunu could also be good. I think Nunu is very good against Malzahar. Like,
I feel like Nunu could just like start a snowball mid lane and then just
I think
force a
Nunu
flash
is an
from
overall weaker pick in more organized play though, because of just the nature of how he plays and how he ganks. They pick Cho'Gath. There's no way that's a Cho'Gath jungle, right? That has to be a Cho'Gath top.
yeah, that has to be a Cho'Gath top.
That's
I think Cho'Gath against Sion is actually a 50. It should be a pretty even matchup. I think Sammy S. I think he's back on tank duty. No more Garen for him. Probably looking to make plays, just tank it up. Cho'Gath is pretty good against a lot of the engages.
I think Cho'Gath actually does fairly well into like basically every tank matchup. You can't
Yeah.
really ever do enough damage to Cho'Gath that you can't heal it back up by just eating a few minions.
Yeah, it's very surprising that they banned the Wukong because Cho'Gath against Wukong is just one of the freest matchup
Okay.
in
Eric picked
existence.
another short range ADC into Anivia. Then again,
Okay,
it
I
wasn't a
think Eric
problem
is
last
just.
game.
I think Eric. I think he thinks that he got this in the bag. He's just being a little bit disrespectful, maybe
They
not
did
respecting the short range as
they did
much.
play the Lucian Leona against you, Vincent, and they were quite an impressive lane. That
They were
that
quite an impressive
the
lane,
early game
but
power from that lane is extremely strong.
Yeah,
yeah,
but this time he's playing against another captain, so you shouldn't necessarily expect that level of lane dominance.
That is true.
yeah, yeah. It's silent against Cho'Gath again. So basically, the only thing that changed from the left side team is Vayne against Lucian. And the
Yep.
thing that changed on the right side is Cho'Gath for Garen, which I think is definitely an upgrade. Misfortune for Caitlyn, which I think is also a little bit better in the current meta. And let's see what the last pick is. I think Sammy's got to pull something out of his jungle bag.
They did also have a lot of success with when their MF games yesterday. I think
Oh, is this a
uh,
Warwick angle? Let's see if this is a Warwick angle.
wow.
That
That
would
team
be very surprising.
They're
that
thinking
team has all
about it.
these they have all these starter champs, you know? Those are like tutorial type champions, you know, like the core League of Legends champions. Like they have Warwick,
Locked
Do you think this
Julian.
is
in.
a
Let's go.
beginner-friendly game to watch then?
This does look like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Even you, the sub-level 30 accounts out there, could own all of these champions.
Yeah, I think maybe I disagree with a little bit of the Orn ban. I think maybe get this guy off of his Malzahar. Although Malzahar wasn't really the problem last year. I would maybe even throw in an Udyr ban here.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
Udyr is a valid ban.
I think
I,
Udyr, just given how strong Udyr was, I think Sammy, maybe he should have picked Udyr himself, honestly. I think Udyr has very few losing matchups in the jungle, and you can just slowly outpace everyone.
yeah,
And that it does fit Sammy's playstyle, like tank Udyr, phase rush.
very
Yeah.
interesting that Team Sammy Diff, you know, they lost last game, so they had the side selection this game, and they chose to take red side. They
Mhm.
could have easily taken blue side and try and take an Udyr pick if they
Yeah,
wanted,
and I think
but
one of the big strengths of having red side is you get the very last counter pick, but having a
they
jungle counter
used
pick just
that.
doesn't mean much of anything.
They also
Yeah.
saved their jungle pick for last when Udyr was already picked in this, after the first round of bans.
Yeah,
hmm
it's
So
like
I think the
they
idea there was for a Cho'Gath takeaway pick. So I think Cho'Gath is I think basically they were trying to take away Cho'Gath from Jian and forces Jian into another tank duty kind of thing. Um I think Sammy has I think given his solo queue record, I expect him to play a little bit more towards his for himself, towards the carry. I think Sammy S, if you pull up the solo queue stat, he's a Darius Nar player. I feel like you just gotta put him on comfort. I think Darius last season, if you look at him, his Nar was really, really good. 56% win rate over about 200 games. Mordekaiser was really, really good. 62% win rate over 60 games. I think you just got like have faith in your player and not throw him on tank duty. I think
Visit
laning in this game is like I think more important given that last game I felt like they were not able to achieve advantages elsewhere.
it's I think I agree with what you just said, but it's funny that you're the one would say that because I think
Uh-huh.
past tournament you've been known to throw some players on tank duty. Such as
No, no, no. I think like the thing is I think this tournament is about like people having fun. I think in terms of playing towards your win condition, I think a player has to be flexible. They have to basically you have to like I think the best players have to both be able to play carries and play tank duty. And knowing the win conditions for a lot of the teams, I think I think I know this is my mistake. I think just from having those players on tank duty, I just feel like it's not as strong as having certain players playing their most comfortable champs and just hopefully roll through the game that way.
Do you think that might be part of why so many of the captains in the playoffs here are ADCs? Seeing as how you can't really make your star player, your captain, into a tank player if they're playing the bot lane role.
Yeah, I think the argument goes both ways. I think ADC is very important in this meta because of the early dragons. And I think um ADC also in this tournament, I think is there's like a dearth of very top tier AD carries. So I think AD carry captains basically has a really large advantage given that there is not a lot of other AD carry players and there's a basically abundance of jungle players, mid players, top players, and maybe a little bit fewer top players, but tank basically top at the current moment is just tank or bruisers. It's really hard to win the game through top lane if there is going to be a bottom difference. And I think mid lane, as you can see from these games, is Malzahar versus Anivia with a Seraphine ban. So there are a lot of champions where you can get away with basically protect your maybe a little bit mechanically weaker mid laner through those kind of picks. And I think overall, it's the tournament. I think AD carry is the one role where I think you have to have someone who is relatively strong on it, and that can give your team a heavy bot lane priority, which snowballs into dragons and early towers.
Yeah, for both these teams, their captains are the ADC, and then on the other side of the bracket, Voidless is, I believe, his team's ADC, and then Tofu, I guess, is not. But 3 out of the 4 teams, their
Well,
captains are
Tofu
ADC.
did play ADC for one of his games.
Okay, so he's a flexible player.
Well, that was the game where he thought it didn't matter too much. So
Yeah, and that was also the game that he lost.
yeah, definitely. I think at the current moment we're just going through the draft once again. Any last thoughts on this draft?
Um, on the draft itself, I mean, I guess Blue side just they decided, hey, it worked really well last game. We'll just run it back, basically. So not much to say on that side. On the red side, I think they tried to shift over a bit to a faster clearing jungle with the
Mhm.
Warwick, which I agree with. Um, I don't know if MF Morgana will be able to exert the same amount of pressure as we saw last
Mhm.
game early on.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how that matchup plays out because Lucian is also a stronger ADC early game than Vayne, I'd say.
Yeah.
And so it might not be as clear cut which side will have the early advantage.
I think
And
MF could be challenging to play here though, since you don't really have many tools to do things if Udyr is running at you or if Leona ultis you when you're ulting. You don't have a
Yeah,
lot of like escapes, and you're just naturally a very static champion.
you do have, you remember,
you do have Gale Force and
Strut.
Morgana
You
E.
have Strut. Strut is
Just not
one
letting
of
you
my,
outrun an Udyr.
one of my favorite abilities in the game, not gonna lie. Same with Love Tap.
Yeah.
Have you tried using Strut to outrun an Udyr before? It doesn't really work that well.
Have you tried using Strut in IRL or Love Tap in IRL?
I have not, Vincent. Have you?
Oh, I don't know, man. I never tried on a bear, but I imagine it's not gonna go too well. Maybe if the Udyr is in turtle stance, he's just a turtle running at you.
But what if he's in Phoenix stance?
Ooh. Phoenix just flies, man.
Oh, we didn't really get to
Fun
see
plus
what Udyr was
Phoenix.
acting last game. I guess it didn't
No,
really
it
matter.
definitely. I think it was a RWE max. I think or REW max.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely not not no points into W kind of play style.
Yeah. For anyone else who has no context, Vincent, he plays a lot of Udyr and solo queue, and he's known to not put a point into turtle stance ever. He just maxes R and Q, and then yeah, he doesn't believe in the defensive stats that the
Hey,
turtle stance gives him.
yeah, 64% win rate over 25 games. Let's get it.
So Vincent, why didn't you play Udyr jungle for your
Oh, it
games?
got banned a lot in the tournament.
See,
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate.
is this what happens when you show yourself to be basically a champion one trick, right before a tourney?
Uh, no, I think the thing with Udyr is I think you just gotta get into that like Udyr mindset. I think for me, I put on some hip hop music, maybe some EDM, and then you just ghost and you just like stun them, and then you press Q, press R after your tiger stance, and you just like run them down. I think it's very therapeutic for any players who just want to have fun with the game. And also, an important part of this playstyle is you have to turn all chat and your team chat off, and just like basically spam ping your team off the objectives, and while you go split pushing. You
Vincent,
gotta open
yeah,
the gates, man.
Vincent, when he plays Udyr, he tries to be as far away from his teammates as possible. This
Yeah,
guy's like
Udyr.
barring the jungle left and right.
Yeah, like damage Udyr against like ADCs like Anivia, or against ADCs like Tristana or Vayne, it's kind of unplayable. You just run around really quickly and can't hit anybody. Okay, all right. Before we get into the game, we have a word from our sponsors. So, a message from Droppod. Droppod is a Williams alumni founded social media and gaming startup centered around making it easier to connect with friends to play online multiplayer games. One part gaming community and one part social media app. Droppod just launched and currently is in beta. So Droppod hopes that the Williams network will be a major part of his community. So go check them out on in the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. Okay, looks like we'll be getting towards the end of our spectator delay, and before we get into game, I think we can hear from the Drop Pod sponsors themselves. So you want to take it away, BZK?
All right, welcome back. So we're finally out onto the rift. Looks like it looks like the red team is looking for a 5-point again. And it looks like, blue team is protecting against the invade. Pretty much the same exact strategy as last time.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. I was really hoping that red team would look for some type of invade or get some type of vision,
Mhm.
especially maybe on the top side of the map right now. It's really, really important to know where Udyr is pathing, I think.
Yeah.
Especially just on last game, he just clears through everything so quickly that like you kind of want to avoid early fights. Although I'm not sure who wins in the Warwick versus Udyr 1v1.
I think Udyr is just so strong early game that there is rarely any junglers that can contest him at level 4. And Warwick, while he is very strong, I don't think he wins that matchup very easily against Udyr. I think the few champion that does win is Elise and maybe Elise and Olaf for sure, and like Xin Zhao, those kind of strong, heavy early game junglers. And also the champions that can kite very well, like Graves or Nidalee, even Pantheon, something like that. Oh, this looks like it's going to be a very interesting start. The red
Jungler
side
start.
leash start.
Yeah,
Okay.
both junglers start on the bottom side of the map. That's really interesting. Last game they both start on the top side of the map, but I guess this time it's just a flip flop.
Yep.
They both go to clear Krugs and Gromp respectively.
Oh, this is very good. This is
There we
very
go.
good from Blub the Boxer. Let's get it.
Got the early electrocute proc. He even popped the shield before he landed the Q for the stun.
Oh, I think you gotta take E level 1. I think on Cho'Gath. I think you just win trace so hard on with E.
I agree. I think the damage from the E and the slow are just so useful. Yeah, I think it's just much better. Oh, Blub the Boxer really laying it down on Cold
Yeah,
here.
Blub the Boxer is popping off. This is what we wanted to see. The early pressure from Blub the Boxer. If the Udyr is gonna just AFK clear, then you just have to punish. Oh, look at Sammy. Sammy is changing up his jungle path. He's doing 3 camps level 3 into maybe an early invade, maybe into an early gank. So top side could be potentially a good place to gank, and mid could definitely be it. Okay, let's take a look at what Warwick is going to do here.
I think he recognized that Udyr started bot side because their bot lane came to lane late, and he wants to avoid any fights at all. He probably could have cleared another camp before going for the scuttle, but it looks like he might just gank actually.
Yeah. Oh, this is definitely a very interesting cheese path here. Yeah. Udyr. Oh, this is super good. Oh.
If we can see like a flash Q from Morgana, that'd be perfect. We'll see if he chooses it.
Oh. Okay. Oh, that's definitely a kill. I feel like if the Warwick flash for it and the Morgana flash ignites, I feel like that was definitely a kill right over there.
I think yeah. If any two of the people on red side flash, they could have forced the flash and still gotten the kill on Lucian.
Yeah, I think the laning phase would have been there because Morgana Q is very long.
Yeah.
But now Udyr starts his counter jungle top side. He knows that Warwick show bot.
I don't think Cho'Gath needs to recall here. He can just farm under tower and heal up, but maybe he's scared of the Udyr that's coming. I think he's healthy enough to stay, but
I also think he's also healthy enough to stay here.
yeah, the Cho'Gath people underestimate the healing on it, but like clearing all those minions, you can heal up a ton.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't think that was the best use of a TP. We'll see how blue team uses their TP advantage now. Oh, Sion, sorry, I didn't even know Sion already TP'd, so I guess there is no TP advantage.
Looks like it's about basically even.
Yep.
I think overall, I think the game is going a little bit very similar to last game because of the fail kill in the bot side. And this time, it looks like Misfortune is getting poked out again. Misfortune has not based yet after getting that wave in. I think that's definitely a mistake from Lauren's part. I think if you have the Warwick there, you shove the lane and you base there. And Eric loses a whole minion wave. But given that Lauren has not based, he can't really fight for anything right now. And if the Udyr meets the Warwick, this is going to be very dangerous. Oh, Lucian does not have flash here. Lucian does not have flash. Oh, this is not very good.
Udyr closing in.
Okay. This Udyr's closing in. Let's see how they play it. Udyr just stuns and gets the first plug and maybe gets the second one. It's a double kill for the Udyr.
That is not what you wanted to see coming out for red side.
Man, Udyr is just running it, sprinting it. It's like full
dragon?
clears the jungle. Oh, this is what I like to see. This is exactly what I like to see. Early dragons. Udyr does that, basically losing almost no health. Top lane.
That was perfect for Udyr.
Okay.
Flash.
Yeah, he did not even use flash. He just basically put the tiger dot onto the Misfortune and he knows he's dead. And Udyr can just rampage through the rest of the tops, his jungle, and get all of those minions. Look at Warwick again. He's down 42 to 24. Oh, Warwick is looking for a counter jungle angle here. This is very smart.
Okay, we'll see if he gets out in time.
Yeah.
Or if Udyr can run him down.
No, I think Udyr showed in the mid lane, so
Yeah, that slight stutter set. Wow, okay. Warwick should know Udyr's in the area. I think he's getting collapsed on.
No, I think this is completely okay. This is I
He's
think
two
Warwick should be
down.
able to get out here. Oh, Udyr just is a little bit faster.
Okay, and they get out unscathed.
Yeah, Malzahar is 6, and Nivea is 6 as well. And they're forced off the scuttle. This is very, very sad for Warwick. I think Warwick there should just pass straight to scuttle, get that scuttle, and then maybe not look to counter jungle as fast.
The wolves haven't reset yet.
Oh, let's look at the mid lane. This is looks like just a kill. I believe that just Anivia walked into the Malzahar range and just got changed CC'd.
Yeah, Udyr's stunned. There's nothing else to it.
Very interesting that Anivia took barrier instead of teleport this game.
Man, Leona just does not take damage when her W is up. She just ate all of that and only took a third of her health.
Yeah. I think Eric's team, they got a very clear game plan of what to do. Like, I think they're playing their comfort picks. They're very, very like good at squeezing out early game leads. As seen through these past 2 drafts. Oh, Anivia? Oh, is Udyr here?
Udyr's by himself. Does he get
Okay.
clapped?
Okay. This is good. This is good. Let's see the fear. Fear into a stun. Where's the stun? Oh, this could be very, very good.
Too fast.
Oh, this is. Okay.
Oh, and a 2-for-1.
Oh.
And Udyr runs out.
Udyr runs away into his jungle and he just starts out the
surprised-
move up.
So Udyr had the movement speed buff, and he was, I mean, it seemed like he would just run out. I'm surprised they didn't just turn on Malzahar there. He was completely out of mana. I guess he still has his flash up, so maybe they wouldn't even gotten the kill anyways, but man, that's got to be rough. They could have gotten something there, but nothing really happened. It looks like they burned the Cho'Gath flash as well, and Warwick, so 2 summoners for no kills is really rough.
Oof. I think Cho'Gath needed to put his E into the Udyr right there and basically get us slow on when Udyr is just running around super fast. I think Cho'Gath was in the auto range.
And mid lane also does seem like it'll become a farm fest again, as Malzahar and Anivia both have their lost chapters, so there won't be much that lane anymore.
Yeah, other than this game, I think top lane is looking a lot closer. I think Cho'Gath just basically farms all of his HP back. And top lane is a little bit closer, yeah. Top lane's gonna be closer. Jungle looks like still a two level lead right now at 9 minutes. Udyr just outpaces Warwick so much.
In the bot lane, we didn't see this because we were watching the fight mid lane, but they traded 2-for-1 in the bot lane in favor of blue side. So, you know, they got this early lead. It looks like it's interesting to see how they'll push this advantage in lane.
Oh, Malzahar is the first to move. They have to give up the scuttle again. This is going to be a really, really rough game for for the red team.
Yeah, I agree.
And Warwick doesn't really clear that fast, to be honest. Like before the T-mat, Warwick is pretty slow. Like the last time I've seen Warwick in my solo queue game, it was when like T-mat was still like the thing that gives you an auto attack reset, and basically also does the AoE damage, which allows Oh, look at that.
Man.
Okay. Here comes the Warwick. Here comes the Warwick. Warwick can do it for sure.
They get the return kill. Right.
In the game.
Looks like this will be the 2-for-1 if Warwick can close it out. Does Nivea roam in time, or does she get killed by Malzahar?
Okay. Warwick can come into the Malzahar. Malzahar is a little bit overextended. Udyr showing topside.
Wow, okay.
Okay.
And Nivea gets the kill on Malzahar, actually. Wow, what a turn of events. Was that a 4-for-1, it looks like, across the map?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a dragon play right here. Dragon angle right here. Udyr just showed top. And for some reason, I think Simon just died top lane in that dive.
I did not, yeah. Maybe we can watch the replay in a little bit after this whole dragon, you know, see if
okay, they're just running him down. They're running the mid lane down, but Udyr just gets walled.
Oh, and Nivea's
yeah, this is one of the very tough matchup with Udyr into Nivea. Not too fun, not too fun.
Man, I think they needed to reset if they wanted to go for a dragon while the other team was dead, because now it looks like the blue team should be able to just get the kill.
Well, I guess not. They're just solo killing across the board.
Oh, this is a replay of earlier.
Yeah. Oh, this is a replay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool. Cool.
So,
Well,
so it looks like Cho'Gath just auto attacks the
straight
Scion
solo
down,
kills this.
and then he
All
just hits him and walks away.
All right, sell the stocks, guys. Start selling them. JP Morgan and Jian is maybe getting. Oh, and the Q to stop the Udyr. Wow, very well played by Sammy. Yes.
Oh wow, and the blue team actually did not go for the dragon while we were watching the replay. I was expecting them to recognize that Warwick and Anivia are resetting and that they'd get a free dragon, but I guess not. They didn't push that.
Yeah, now Warwick's speed is gonna ramp up pretty quickly in terms of clear because he got his team at. He's gonna get probably the top scuttle here.
Yeah, I didn't point this out earlier, but Udyr finished his chem tank by like 10 minutes or so. He's been sitting on that for a while, so see if he can make any really good plays with that. Movement speed from it is huge, so.
Oh, this is not good. I think you're looking at probably an R from. Oh, where's the R from the Malzahar? Okay, there it is.
Oh, and Cho'Gath unfortunately gets baited. Looks like he will be going down as well here.
Yeah.
I'm afraid the two-man knockup won't be enough, and he does die to Scion.
Yeah.
So
I
quick
think-
2-pro. Yeah, that's tough. How many?
But this game is definitely a lot closer than the first game, I would say.
Yeah. But they definitely need to keep tabs on whenever Malzahar moves away from lane. His ult lockdown is just like that's a free kill waiting to happen every time he has his ult up, right?
Yeah.
And so you really need to watch where he is. Although there is a 20 CS lead in the mid lane in favor of Anivia, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Like they really need to watch because I think every time we've seen Malzahar move over, he just ults and someone dies. With the exception of that solo kill Anivia got just a couple minutes ago.
Oh, here
And-
comes the TP from Scion with the R.
Scion.
This is super good for.
And
For the
man,
blue
they are
team.
outnumbered. And that's a quick 2-for-0, and they'll transition that into a dragon, uncontested now.
They were just showing on vision right there.
Yeah, so
I think
I guess
you have to compliment the bot lane for setting up extremely favorable visions for all of the Scion TPs,
yeah, I
and as
agree.
well as getting that vision for the dragon, knowing that Warwick is looking sneak.
We didn't highlight this a couple minutes ago, but around a minute ago now. Cho'Gath used his TP. Scion recognized that they have TP advantage and just teleport over to the bot side and get the 2-for-0 and dragon.
Yeah. Oh, if I were the Udyr, I would just run across.
Go straight to the chickens.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I think as red side, you definitely have to try to keep the mid tower up for Anivia. I think Anivia is a champion that needs to farm up a lot and try to have a little bit better map control. I think Warwick is probably a little bit mad right
Oh,
now.
he's getting chased down. He
Yeah.
should
Oh,
not.
here comes the chem tank.
And the Malzahar ult, like we've seen before, he just presses ult, walks over, and that's the end of Warwick, you know.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing over and over. I don't know, I wish I had seen a bit more ganks early mid lane, back when
Mhm.
Blob the Boxer had a bit of a lead, but I think by now, with the Leandries on Malzahar, it's really tough.
Yeah.
Malzahar, last game and this game we've seen, he gets a lot of help from Udyr and just transitions into like a first tower, and after that, it's really difficult to come back in the lane.
Oh, this is I don't think Cho'Gath dies here. Because Udyr doesn't have enough mana for anything, and they're collapsing.
Yeah, and
So
Cho'Gath-
this is actually not bad. This is actually not bad. Let's see the wall. Let's see the wall.
the flash,
The flash
the wall
and the
does-
wall.
fight connect. Yeah, the Udyr was really scared of a Cho'Gath ult there. 'Cause he's so low. Can they collapse on him, or does he just sprint away again?
Oh
the
no.
Oracle misses.
Okay.
He follows you and the fear, and Udyr is still just kiting. Does Anivia land the stun or the wall?
Oh, Udyr
Either
is just
lane.
way too fast here.
Wow, that movement speed. Cherry Boa might be walking into dangerous area here.
Oh,
They go
this
for the
is way
Udyr.
too greedy from the Udyr.
He still has his flash, and he's
He
too
gets
fast.
away. But I don't think he gets away from Warwick though. After
I
he
think
runs
Warwick
around this.
hits it down, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the turbo chem tank.
Oh, the chem tank. This is honestly so tilting to play against as the red team.
They're just wasting so much time.
Udyr is just running circles around this. Oh my god.
Wow, that might be my favorite play of the game. Oh man.
That's some top tier Udyr gameplay right there.
Can they even kill Leona here? She's really tanky. She takes no damage.
Yeah. And Malzahar is falling. Malzahar is falling. This is a.
Right here.
Oh my god, she shields herself instead of the misfortune.
Did we see the Malzahar ult? Oh, he already used it. Okay. That's a double kill for him, and it's starting to look grim for the red team again. Udyr has a massive lead, 60 CS lead. Mid lane is 3-1-3 now for Malzahar. He's, he's looking very dangerous now. Even the bot lane, MF is 0-5 versus Lucian is 2-2-6. That's not exactly what you're looking for, this red team.
Do you think the mental game factor plays a little bit into this? I feel like given the first game that I feel like if you're on Lauren's team, then you must feel some sort of pressure from like thinking that, oh no, this is like happening all over again.
Yeah, this is match point, and it's playing out almost the same as last game, with the exception of that like 4-for-1 that happened across the map. I think they got really sloppy right after that. That was a massive gold swing, but then they didn't. I really would have liked to see like everyone reset, go for dragon. Instead, that didn't happen, and then they just let Malzahar get picks left and right. Malzahar and Udyr. Just that duo together, like their stun lock and damage, like as a red team member, when you're by yourself, you can't do anything.
Yeah, completely agree there. Yeah, like Sion's just walking around. Sion and Udyr, no one can kill both of them. They're just... I guess at this point it doesn't really matter too much. Oh, here comes the Warwick! Warwick Fear?
Oh, Warwick.
Oh, the Lucian! Eric Johnson with the outplay.
We can look here. JP Morgan is just too tanky. He takes no damage. Udyr finally joins the fight. That's a free kill. Top side. Now Electro is killed by Madre the Flame. And that's a quick 3-for-0, it looks like. 4-for-0. Wow. Udyr chases MF all the way to the base.
Oh my god. And Lauren with the sad face coming out. Man, this is not going too well for the captain of the team. I feel like if you're the captain of the team and you go 0-6, it's kind of hard to... I think it's kind of hard to say stuff in calm, I feel like. It's a little bit tough. You basically have to like be very cheerful, but you gotta keep your team's mental up at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I guess their one saving grace is this is like Cloud Soul this game. Although actually against Udyr.
Against Udyr and Sion, it's a little bit rough.
Yeah, that's actually not that bad of a Dragon Soul. Malzahar loves the cooldown reduction of his ult. Free kill every time. Same with Leona. Udyr obviously he enjoys the movement speed. The Cloud Soul 50% movement speed bonus actually activates on any one of Udyr's abilities.
Yeah.
So I think he might just remain deathless this game unless he goes for a really disrespectful play. He can just run away from everything. He has Deadman's Plate, Turbo Chem Tank. Like the movement speed he has, like he can outrun anyone.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. This is very this is honestly looking like a repeat of last game. There was some hope from me when we saw the 4-for-1 across the map, but at the current moment it looks like it's very, very blue team favored.
Yeah, I wish the mid lane was. It's gone very, very passive both games. And I think with the way that the draft went, that.
Oh, let's see the 1v2 from the Ducky. Oh, he's just tanking everything. Oh no,
and
this
Roger
looks like
on over to swipe both kills. Wow, he's just, he wants the gold for himself.
Dude, this is the captain, man. This is exactly what we want to see from our captain.
I mean,
he wants to be part of the montage plays.
True. You already know he's gonna be making a highlight clip of himself after this game.
Yeah.
And they transition over to over to Baron, just like we saw last game. Lucian
Yo, Udyr's not even in the pit. Udyr's just walking around.
Is Udyr gonna go for the chicken while his team is getting Baron like last game?
Yeah, this is exactly what I want to see from the Udyr player.
Udyr just right by himself and just the same thing.
Yep.
Man, I'm really
Yeah.
sad that we haven't really gotten. I mean, I think by now it's just too late. But with the Cho'Gath pick, we really needed to see some grouping up. I think by red team because the drag control is so easy with Cho'Gath. He just ulted for 1,000 true damage and it's gone.
Yeah. I
But
think
by
this game
now,
is definitely not Sammy S's fault. I think Sammy has played a really, really solid game at Cho'Gath. Maybe barring some teleports, but I think he did a really good job going up against JP Morgan and
especially when you keep in mind the skill discrepancy, right? Jian is
yeah.
previously D2 is where he peaked, maybe
Yeah.
D3, as a top laner, and so
Yeah, look at this right now. This is what you're seeing is just
Sion
basically
just
oh, that Sammy is for sure tilted. He is not having the best game.
and wow,
Wait, does Malzahar kill Misfortune here?
or Anivia.
Or
Wait,
Anivia? He
wow,
gets
they both burned down from the
this
Leandry.
is oh, Malzahar is coming again.
And man, from here it's just yeah, it's just game over. They're getting both inhibs at the same time. They
Yeah.
might just put the end here.
Yeah, I think for me, MVP this game, both of the series, is definitely Ducky. I think Ducky on Udyr definitely just out-farmed, outpaced the Warwick, or whatever Sammy was playing. I think targeting the 3 target bans against Rich Game Buddy, and the 5 target bans against Rich Game Buddy in game 2 was
Definitely
just,
worked.
yeah,
I think blue team this game they did a really good job, especially after they had the 1-for-4.
Mhm.
They did a really good job of playing around the Malzahar ult. They would like play super passive and then
Okay.
when Malzahar's ult is
Here comes the play, and Misfortune just got a huge shutdown.
But can they cash
Looks
it
like
in?
they're gonna just get run down. Okay, Udyr.
Ducky's getting
Oh,
stunned.
here comes the. Maybe a comeback. Maybe a comeback. And maybe I can stall this.
Oh, Nivea Q misses.
Oh.
Lucian goes for the flashy plays. Wow,
Oh no, the end of Malzahar
They
E.
get-
Press
they
E to
double
win
kill.
the game.
they don't quite get the
Oh.
2 kills at the end. Wow, but the Malzahar E does secure that kill, and it looks like the game is over here.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe some heroics from our Anivia.
well fought victory. Lucian is looking for the hero play, and he gets
Oh.
it. He does die. His KDA will tank from that, but I'm sure he's happy. with
Warwick
it.
is up. Okay.
And it looks like the game ended there.
Yeah. Wow, that looks like a very, very rough game from both sides.
Wow, yeah,
I think-
congratulations to Team
Yeah.
Shorting Jian Lu for making it to the finals.
Yeah, Jianlu certainly not shorted again.
Yeah, I don't know. Whoever's holding those short positions, they're kind of
Ooh,
panicking
they're
right now.
sweating, dude. They're sweating hard. I feel like this game. I think we really underestimated the jungle matchup here. I think in the early game. I think Udyr has such a good early game and such a strong scaling pick against almost all of Rich Game Buddies' champion pool. Definitely my MVP for the series right here.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah.
do you think that Sammy Diff really need to prioritize banning or picking Udyr earlier?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a Sammy Diff game.
I think from the first game, it was, I mean, maybe obvious to the viewers that like it seemed like Udyr just outpaced the Zac, and I was surprised that they chose not to go for the first pick. They chose red side again, and they let through the Udyr, which I think is a big mistake.
Yeah, I think Udyr has to be pick or ban here. I think if Sammy doesn't play any good counters against Udyr, he's just going to get outpaced. And I think Sammy did a very good cheese path in the second game. I think it fell short a little bit on the execution. Morgana still have flash and ignite for that play, and Sammy also have flash for ignite. I think as soon as the binding landed, both of them needs to flash onto the Lucian. And I
Yeah,
think that
I
was a
was-
guarantee kill, and bot
I
lane
was
is just
really dis-
very difficult to play from there.
I was really disappointed by that. They saw the binding land and
Mhm.
they didn't capitalize on it. I think they need to use their flashes. I think I don't know. I think oftentimes players aren't aggressive enough with their flashes, especially early on, because I think that would have slam dunked that lane for red
Yeah.
side.
I think at some point, I think a good thing I think that came out of this game, I think, is that I feel kind of bad for Coleman, to be honest. Like he was on Malzahar duty for both games, and
Do you think he would have
having to
preferred being on
play.
Seraphine duty though?
There's nothing wrong with Mousehard duty. Mousehard is a fun champion, I'll have you know.
I don't know about Malzahar. Let's say you win the tournament. Did you really, really win the tournament if your two main champs is Seraphine and Malzahar? I feel like Coleman, you gotta have more faith in Coleman. I feel like from what I've seen, he's a very, very good player that knows what's going on. I think I want to see an Assassins versus Assassin matchup in the final. I think Coleman, he's gonna pop off in the final. That's just my word. I think Eric's
Well,
probably needs to have a little bit more faith in Coleman. I think he's.
Coleman plays more of like mage champions. He plays a lot of
Mhm.
Ari, Orianna, Malzahar. He doesn't really play assassins that much.
Mhm.
Oh, I definitely like to see some Orianna gameplay. I think that champion
Yeah.
is difficult to make work, but if you're playing your tethering perfectly, you can win a lot of lanes. And there's nothing
Mhm.
quite like watching an Orianna ulti decimate a team fight.
I will say, I think the matchup for him will be a bit harder in the finals, because he'll either be playing up against Cardinal or SK Telecom T1 in the finals, and
Yeah.
those are both very strong mid laners, I'd say.
I have the current standings up on the stream. So we just saw from the semifinal B that Short and Jian Liu won 2-0 against Sammy Diff. But over in semifinal A, it looks like Mike Muted, SK Telecom's team, is 1-0 against 8th and 8th.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, I like that a lot actually. I think it would be very good to have both top seed in the group to make it out. And I think it's going to be a very interesting final for sure.
So,
Um,
what are any takeaways you think that if, since currently Mike Muted is ahead a game, what would you give to them if they, for their finals game against Short and Jianlu?
I think definitely shut down the jungle and hope for a mid diff. Shut down the jungle. I think very interesting is I think they show the Udyr pick in the semi, so I think you either pick it or ban it here. And I think Ducky also has two more
that's,
champions that he play a lot in this tournament is Echo and Graves.
that,
So you can
I,
either go with a strategy that bans out all of Ducky's champions, making sure that he doesn't carry, or you have to either basically come up with a good counter pick against Ducky's champion pool.
if SKT does play against Roaring Jianlu in the finals, they do also have to watch out for that bot lane matchup. I do think I would give the edge to Eric and Cherry Boba.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's also a tough matchup that they'll have to watch out for, I think.
Do you think SK Telecom's team could garner a lot of advantage in the top side of the map, though? With
I do
Green
think
Pick?
so. I
it's
think Green
possible.
Pick plays champions that basically win lane and win game. So he has his Alawi, which is and Kled, which are really really strong against a lot of the tank players that are currently in the meta right now. And then SK Telecom plays more towards the assassin side, or kind of basically assassin or strong control mages that tries to get mid lane priority. And I think Twice plays quite a bit of like a heavy farm jungling playstyle with mastery, with Hecarim, with picks like that. So I definitely think that they have a good matchup in the top side of the jungle.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I definitely think we shouldn't sleep on Greeny Pick. You know, he's called the Silver Smurfer for a reason.
Yeah, I completely agree with that one.
You never know what to expect.
yeah, so
Yeah.
right now, since semifinal B is decided, what are your predictions for semifinal A? Do you think that SK Telecom is going to take it 2-0, or do you think it's an eighth will fight back, make it more of a contested series?
I certainly hope is an eighth fights back. I think you have I think I'm watching the game right now. You have the Gangplank top is a really signature pick from JTB 102. So Jaden, I hope he's going to pop off this game. Show them what's up.
Oh, Cardinal is playing Riven right now. That is one of his one tricks. He's really maybe yeah. He mainly plays Zed and Riven. I'm a very big fan of his Riven.
Yeah.
Just as a close friend, duo partner, you know, I've seen a lot of it. So hoping carry with that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
So it looks like everything's closed up for semifinal B. So casters, say any final remarks you have, and I'll be closing the stream, and everyone can move over to the main Twitch stream.
Or I actually read in chat on the first stream that it seems like Eric Johnson might want to.
Oh, does he want to do a winners interview?
Yeah, should we interview him?
We'll bring him
first?
on.
Yeah, sure. Let's
Once-
bring on
Where-
Eric John.
Where is Eric?
I can message him right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, welcome Ducky, who
Hello,
is
hello.
our MVP of this series. All right, Ducky,
heck,
how do you
I
feel
didn't know.
about winning that game?
I feel pretty good. I think the draft went about exactly the way we planned it out.
Yeah,
Did you think
Both
that you were gonna be able to get almost the exact same draft in the second game as you did the first game?
Once I honestly, I up to the Warwick pick, I kind of expected the whole draft, to be honest. I didn't really see it possible for them to pick anything besides like Morgana and Anivia there. It seemed like those were their best picks. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think they drafted the best team they could, but against our specific power picks, I think it's really just hard to ban out everything they need to.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. How do you feel about the jungle matchup? Bring on the
Uh,
deer,
ju-
man.
The jungle matchup was fun. I think Warwick was an interesting pick there. I liked. I know he plays Zac and Nunu. Um, I expected those. I thought those would have been slightly better, but overall the matchup was fine. Um, Basically the same thing happened the second game that it did the first game, and it wasn't really much of the jungle matchup to do with anything.
Yeah.
Just kind of the way the champions work, you know.
Yeah, I think you just power farm your way into a flame
Yeah.
horizon.
Yeah, it happens, man.
Yeah, that seems a little bit rough on the other side. So I think you certainly gain a lot of new fans with your Udyr playstyle, with your Udyr pick. Is there anything you want to say to the fans that are watching you from home?
To the fans,
Yeah, dude.
you picked a bad player to be a role model. Let me tell you.
Actually, I'm gonna be able to bring your captain on as well. So.
Oh heck yeah, let's get him in here.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to the winners interview, Eric.
Hello.
congrats on the victory.
Wait, Ducky's here?
Yeah,
Well,
dude.
you weren't,
Yeah.
and Ducky got our MVP award for both games.
This is just like in my actual team. I might be captain by name, but I feel like my power is usurped by our Udyr god.
We're running a bit of a shadow dictatorship here.
Oh, I mean, that jungle gameplay was kind of crazy. I don't know.
Thank you.
Both games panned out really similarly. It seemed like. You know,
Yeah. Very,
Yeah,
very clean from you.
I kept the Udyr a super pocket pick because by not playing it in the past 6 months until this
Yeah,
morning.
dude.
Yeah, we
I
saw.
totally see the match history. It's like 2 games on Udyr. You're back at it, dude. Let's get it.
Right before our game started, I was like, let me just try this champion out, see how it goes.
Would you describe Udyr as a champion that's very difficult to pick up?
Yeah, in some ways, actually, yeah. I think I mean he's really simple to execute mechanically, but he really rewards good movement and good jungle pathing, which I think are kind of the skills I'm kind of good at in this particular tournament.
Yeah.
And also importantly, one of the reasons I like Udyr over some other champions is that he kind of fills in the same role of Graves and Echo as being like a really hard to kill pick for most of their champions.
Mhm.
So he's able to just like run around and kind of like interact with fights however
Yeah,
it
that-
feels like.
There's this like, I forget at what point in the game, but it was so disrespectful. You're just like running circles around them, like trying to
Oh,
farm up
around-
your wolf.
Around
And
the
then-
blue buff, and I
Yeah, and wolf, they just run away, and man, that
Yeah.
just felt bad to watch.
Yeah, I was like verging
was
on
really
psychological torment at that point.
Yeah, because
I
right
didn't
before
actually
that,
feel
you
bad.
guys also double killed their bot lane with Malzahar.
Yeah. I did feel a little bad about that game. I got lucky. Some of my cooldowns came up like my chem tank came up just as Warwick was about to kill me, and it was really close. I think
Also, Ducky, I have an important question. Did you level
Yeah.
up W these games? Do you think
I did.
Udyr's W is a valuable skill to have?
Do I
Like,
think it's a
point?
yeah,
Yeah.
I actually maxed W second on Udyr.
Okay,
Wow.
we
Okay,
asked
Zach.
this because Vincent here plays a very unique Udyr build where he levels up R and Q at the same time and doesn't put a single point to W until like level 16 where he's forced to.
Oh,
No, you're no longer forced to put any points into W.
Yeah, you don't
As
have
a
to
really?
Udyr player. Yeah.
Oh, are the
Yeah.
abilities maxed out at
'Cause
6?
they give you 6 points on one ability
Okay.
when you hit 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think my playstyle is a lot more solo queue centered. It's definitely not as strong in competitive play.
There's
Or-
I mean, there's very little difference between having 1 point in W and having no points in W. Like almost no difference. And
I don't know if I
most
would call
Udyr-
yeah.
most
Think
of your
it's
builds
16.
go for like Emax second. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't know if I would call that semifinal competitive play.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Eric with
Wow.
firing
Alright.
shots. Okay.
Just because we're on the second stream.
Okay.
More of a beatdown.
So,
Okay. All right. Who
Eric,
do you guys want to face in the finals?
Yeah. So right now, SK
Uh,
Telecom is up 1-0 against their opponent.
All right. Yeah, but then they picked Master Yi, so seems like they're trying to throw it back.
Yeah. So
It-
I'm
who do you think
personally
is gonna
prefer-
make it out, and who would you want to face coming out?
I think I mean of the teams we played, I think Voidless gave us the best competition. I think they have the most fun games. At least in scrims.
Yeah, but we
we
never
played
scrimmed
against
against the other team.
Yeah, we never. They picked Seraphine for the game we played against Voidless, which I didn't think was as interesting. But I think if they pick like a standard team composition, we'll have a really fun game, and that's kind of what I'm looking for here.
Yep. Have fun and win the game, and hopefully win the
Thank
game. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be closer. Final.
One question that I do have is I'm kind of interested in how the comm works. So who does the majority of shot calling on your team? So, Eric, are you the main shot caller for early game, maybe for late game? How does
Definitely
it work?
Brandon, Ducky.
Yeah. It's,
Okay.
it's mostly me, and then in some key spots, Eric, kind of suggests something else, and we go for it sometimes.
Does Jian
Okay.
Yeah.
call for any shots?
so, like,
It's a
Eric-
lot. Yeah, we try to keep Jian mostly. His comms are like, "What does this item do again?" Or like, "What should I build?
What do I build?
But
How do I trade
how did
this
Jian
lane?"
feel after getting solo killed by Cho'Gath this game? That was one of their few kills this entire game.
I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, I don't actually remember that happening.
Well, it was we
I
were
don't-
2v1ing
I don't really look at
Cho'Gath,
offlane
and
that
Cho'Gath
much.
ulted Jian.
Oh right, yeah. As I was going up to him, yeah, that was just a bit of miscommunication. We're just a little bit far away
Yeah.
From each other. But
Yeah.
Fortunately, it didn't. It was in a position in the game where it didn't have much impact on the rest of the map. So
Yeah. I think the casters are being a little bit too harsh on Jian. I think
Yeah,
I
no,
think all of
Jian,
us coming into
He's playing-
tournament were
he's playing
showing
so
Jian,
well.
but I think
Yeah.
he's playing so well. Honestly,
He's
I think
also
Yeah,
tanking
yeah.
I
a
mean,
lot
this
of
is,
bans for
this
your
is what we
team.
learned from the real world, right? You try to short a stock, and then it's just fucking balloons.
it just shoots up
It shoots to the moon.
to the
Um,
moon.
yeah,
Yeah,
Jian
I
is
was-
certainly shooting to the moon.
I was lucky to have a jungle that's like vocal and can shot call because definitely the role lends itself right to being
Yeah,
the shot
definitely the
caller,
map
especially
movement.
early game. So and it makes it so much easier for me to like focus on the 2v2
Mhm.
and my mechanics.
Yeah, or the lack of them, maybe.
Alright.
Yeah, exactly.
And with that, I think we're gonna close the stream up. Alright, everyone who's here, feel free to hop onto the main stream where they are currently live casting the game between SK Telecom T1's team and Voidless.